sponsored by Fantasy Grounds. Welcome back to the Nonat1s Actual play of Paizo's The Slithering. In the previous episode, 4 travelers were forced into teamwork as an indistinct merchant, charming as he may have seemed, melted before their very eyes into a puddle of black liquid. Shortly thereafter, the liquid lunged out at the travelers, forcing them to defend themselves from the now threatening pile of sludge. Upon destroying the ooze, the 4 find themselves approached by a stranger. And approaching behind you, Vorgak, excuse me, a woman appear behind you asking for your attention. And she looks to you as well as the other 3. And if the other 3 aren't looking, she kind of just even louder just
I heard you the first time.
I just wanted all of your attention.
Oh, good gentlemen.
Oh, does that include me?
I would just
Neznak raises their hand.
It includes the 4 of you. I would speak with
come
you.
up immediately.
1, 2, 3. Oh, 4. Okay.
I am Abayone Munme, and I have the pleasure of serving on the representative council that administers here in Kibwe. Might I bother you for a moment? This transformation you've just witnessed is sadly not an isolated event.
We were just attacked. You know that's right.
Oh, I understand. It's happening all over Kibwe. If
People are melting all over Kibwe?
People are melting into these monstrosities. Hostile, horrid, and she kind of looks to the ground and coughs a little bit, just looks up at you, the 4 of you, and kind of takes a small step back, and seems highly contagious.
Sorry, what?
Disease or plague or whatever it is beginning.
Curse. I look at my cat.
Karanah starts taking his clothes off. Get this stuff off of me, then.
While you seem to be okay, it's very fast acting, and she kind of looks at everyone who was hit in that fight, and just, you don't seem to be affected instantaneously. Sometimes it does lie dormant, but a lot of the times it's very quick.
But we were just talking to that man.
Like I said, sometimes. Sometimes it's instant, sometimes it's not. It's very possible you may die in an hour.
Fantastic.
I don't like this. Can I immediately start doing a medicine check on myself to see if
Go for it.
I'm diseased or something?
Go for it.
I rolled a 3, got a 15. What's that telling me?
Nothing really seems off, except you have this weird foul smell about you, like you were just slapped by an ooze.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Look, I am in desperate need. Kibwe is not in shambles yet, but we have just achieved this prosperous age, and we would hate to see it lost. It's rare we see those such as yourself who can handle themselves around these monstrosities. There are many rumors circulating about these transformations in the city. Other than myself, however, some still don't even believe. Some call them jokes just because they haven't been able to see it for themselves. Or some call us drunk because it's just too infrequent to be seen in the public eye. All of these people, and she kind of gestures to the crowd that are gathered around, they all believe, and every day more and more people are believing. But once everyone believes, it might be too late. It's no joke, and I would like to hire you to investigate. I can offer you a stipend of, say, 10 gold per day for expenses, but you would also get the gratitude of Kibwe's representative council, however valuable you may find that.
Gratitude is all I need from you. You can give my gold to the rest of the party.
I'll take that.
A very generous man. So you'll do it? And she kind of looks to the rest of you.
Yes, of course.
Karen, I've enjoyed hanging out with you, but I need to do this. I don't know. It's your choice.
I don't know. I've been wandering long enough. This seems like it could be interesting.
Oh, thank God. I didn't want to do this by myself.
Well, everyone wanders for a purpose. Perhaps this is yours, fantastic Birdman.
Squawk.
Oh, fantastic. If we have come to an agreement, she kind of reaches into a pouch at her side and pulls out a pouch that jingles, and she reaches in and sort of organizes in her hand. And she actually places it on the ground in front of you, Vorgak, before stepping back from it. Precautions, of course. But here's 5 days up front.
That being said, Vorgak will step up and, well, I'll take. Is there something wrong with this gold?
No.
You don't want to get next to us because
exactly. It's precautionary.
Sure. Okay, fine.
Speaking of which, maybe after we're done speaking, I should check everybody here out. I could heal up your wounds and look everybody over to see if we've been affected.
She kind of looks over a couple of you, and then looks at you, Nemniak, and just says, well, you seem to be the one the worst for wear. Take care of yourself, be sure.
I'm used to taking damage. The thing barely even touched me. It's magical damage. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, I won't pretend to understand. It's beyond my reach. But excellent. I greatly appreciate your assistance. I have 2 leads thus far, and I ask you to follow up on these, as well as anywhere they lead you. And she kind of looks to see if anyone's, has the ability to write this down.
I mean, absolutely. Hemlock is all over this, and
Fantastic.
he will pull out his notebook and pencil and begin writing furiously.
Okay. First, I hear that preacher Batsulan in the Arayenki Pavilion. He's there every sundown. He has numerous followers, but everything about it is secretive, and from what has been spread through the grapevine, some of them have been afflicted by this transformation. Whether they've melted like this poor merchant here, or something else, I don't know. But that's Batsulan in the Adayenki Pavilion at sundown. And for reference, it's about midday right now, about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. The second lead, the only other one I have, and don't take this the wrong way, but the nation of Nex is well known for crafting oozes. There is an envoy from Nex here. He maintains an office at the edge of the Iwisa block. It's near the northern gate. You can't miss it. And trust me, if you choose to investigate with the envoy, neglect to mention you're working for Kibwe. Mafzat, especially, the envoy, has an unreasonable dislike of his post, and a unreasonable dislike of the Kibwe government as a result. He hates his job, and thus he hates us. And she kind of smiles a little bit, like, why would anybody hate Kibwe? If you can find... Are there any questions so far? Sorry if I'm going too quickly.
You're not going quickly enough. Come on.
Oh,
Into details.
Of course. If you can find some source of these transformations and put a stop to it, or if you ever find yourself out of a lead and at a dead end, you can find me on the eastern side of the market where I usually stay during the day. My home is beneath the Pillar Watcher that resembles a standing rhinoceros, and you can see it from here. And she kind of points to the east, and you can see like the head and horn of a rhino kind of sitting on top of a roof. Unfortunately, that is all the information I have for you.
What was her name again, one more time?
Her name?
Yeah.
Abayon.
So, 2 questions. The Batsulan is a preacher,
Yep.
and he gathers at sundown at where?
The Adayenki Pavilion.
Is there any other relevant information you might be able to give us?
I suppose, like I said, don't make Mafsat upset. He's not...
Yes. You've already...
Yes.
Not repeating anything you've already said.
I am afraid
Anything new, additional.
I will continue my search as you continue yours, and hope that I find more, but right now these are the only ideas I possibly have.
I would tell her where I live. I don't know where that would be. Somewhere in town I would live. And
Okay.
I would say, send me a message if you learn anything new. And I will do the same.
Of course, fantastic. And she'll give you the direct address to her house as well, and once again points out the rhino on top of it.
When she
I
goes
have
to
a
leave...
question.
Oh.
Yes?
Not for you, Abion. You can leave.
Oh.
Hemlock says he's done with you. You can go. Nice to meet you. Goodbye.
Oh,
Hi.
goodbye. Best of luck. And
When she leaves, Karana bows
Aw.
and says, Empress guide you.
And she kind of like half awkwardly bows. You as well. Grandmother, watch over you. And she steps away.
No, my questions for the bird and the short guy. What are your names?
While you guys introduce, yourselves to each other, Hemlock would be completely distracted. He'd be pulling out his pipe and lighting it. He would also be pulling out his magnifying glass and investigating these piles of ooze that are still there.
Okay.
So he's a bird. Am I the short guy?
I mean, you are much shorter than I am. Yes. Sorry, the guy with the light of the ring of light over his head. I don't know what you would call that.
Oh, there is it's a halo. It's a halo, yeah.
The halo.
I'm Nesnak Novak.
Nesnak, nice to meet you.
And I am Karanah.
Karanah, nice to meet you. I'm Vorgak. And ignore the cat over my shoulder. He'll die later tonight anyways. This is Hemlock.
Hemlock, nice to meet you.
The cat's adorable, though. Why would it die?
He brings the curse of the unknown to wherever I go, and deserves to die at the sunset of every night.
I mean, does anybody really deserve to die? That's aside from the point. I should look all of us over. I want to make sure none of us are infected, and I'll heal up our wounds, too. I'm going to start just by healing everybody. I do have ward medic.
Do you need me to stand still for that?
I would imagine so. At least somewhat.
Karanah just sits down, knowing exactly what needs to happen because he's been through it before.
I can treat 2 people at a time.
I would say you're not
Within
going to
the
get
hour.
You're not going to get Hemlock to sit still for long enough in the first couple of
I'm gonna
hours.
start with me and Karanah.
I'm going to go help Hemlock then.
There are maps. I would assume, especially if one of you lives here, you would have a map of Kibwe. And yeah, so you are in the middle of town there, right in the central market. And the 2 places that Abayone pointed out, so the first one is the Adayanki Pavilion, which is that open area below.
Oh, yeah, the circle?
Fantastic. And then the other one she pointed you to was way at the north, near the front gate, which is, on the edge of the Iwisa block.
I'm trying to, write at a Yankee, and this is going
No, it's perfect.
so badly.
Oh, I love Absiya.
I don't look so bad.
Oh, with a 10-foot burst? Oh, or cone? Beautiful.
Oh my god.
While my new friends are going through and healing,
Mhm.
I will definitely be spending some time to use my on-the-case abilities.
Okay,
I can pursue 2 leads at a time. It
Oh.
would take me
that works.
basically 11 minutes to pursue 2 leads. And I suppose the 2 leads I want to pursue, one, and this is going to be your discretion if I can choose this to be a lead,
Okay.
I'd like to simply be this disease that's happening.
Because you don't... Because you're trying to find the source, right? You're trying to, make the source your lead?
Something like that. Like, I know this disease is coming from somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, because you don't really know, even looking at it and analyzing it, you can't even tell exactly what it is. I will have to not
That's
allow
totally
that.
fine.
Mhm.
Then I will make my 2 leads simply Batsulan and the envoy Moswat.
Mafsat, yep, you got it.
Can I do another check on each person to see if they're infected with anything from their wounds?
Sure, go ahead and roll me another medicine check.
God, every time I try to figure this shit out.
You notice
All four.
the others also smell like oozes. That's weird. Yeah, no, though, aside from some bruises caused by the pseudopods, nothing seems to stick out about these, about your fellows.
While they're doing stuff, Karanah doesn't really have much to do, so they're just standing over Hemlock's shoulder, what you looking at?
Well,
What you doing? What's that?
you are a Tengu, are you not?
Yeah.
Is it true that your eyesight is excellent?
Yes, but mine is actually better than most of my people.
Fantastic. I'd like you to observe this. I can always use a second opinion. Do you see anything strange and out of the ordinary? I mean, certainly the ooze, but with the wares.
Yeah, if you want to make me a
Can we-
perception check to
Yeah,
advise the
make
way.
And
it.
I also want to make a perception check just to kind of look
Go for it.
around and see if I can find anything out of the ordinary here.
I get a 19.
We both get a 19.
Okay, so yeah, you both sort of step around the goop of the ooze and analyze it. A lot of the stuff has gotten the ooze on it because of the telekinetic projectiles and the assault and everything so they were used as weapons. A lot of it's broken from that as well. Some of it's still here and there on the wall next to the ooze. And as you guys are analyzing that, a couple of other merchants and townsfolk approach, about 2 or 3 of them behind you, and just, excuse me, we would, if we may, we wanted to collect these to give them...
touch nothing! No. Touch nothing!
No. What?
We must analyze the crime scene first. Please, do not disturb a thing.
How long will that take? The sun will go down in about 2 hours.
I promise to have it done by then.
Abayon did say that it was contagious.
And all 3 of them just kind of, this.
Perhaps all of these items are now contaminated.
Look, she says it's contagious because it's happened to a few people. Just because they say it's contagious doesn't mean it is.
Nonetheless.
Yes, but I did just see a person turn into a giant ooze, so...
And maybe they had it coming. Maybe they insulted Lady Sarenrae. Insulting the grandmother will get you killed.
You seem very certain about that. And I'm just gonna grab like a goop of the ooze and be like, here, let me just put this on you here.
And he kind of back
shoulder.
Okay.
Go to rub it on his shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you rub it on his shoulder and he just kind of like swaps it away like, oh, go! Varmint!
Hopefully it's not contagious then.
We'll find out. This is a test. Hemlock, I'm testing it. You see me testing it? I'm testing it. Watch him. See if his eyes
smell. Very empirical, Vorgak. Very empirical.
I don't think that's quite following the scientific method.
I did like to see the eyes melt out of the head of the other one. That was entertaining. Let's see if it happens again.
It was frightening. Entertaining.
It's a thing that happened.
God, it was staring right at you, too.
I would like while we're investigating this tent or stall, I will cast Detect Magic.
Step back, rude merchants. Step back.
And they all kind of turn. One of them's still wiping his shoulder off. Some of the stuff he flicks gets on his friend, and they just walk off.
We'll see you at sundown.
Hopefully not. Okay. And so you cast Detect Magic?
Yeah.
You do detect a very heavy magical presence, though it's not from any school you're familiar with.
And I'm not able to determine like what exactly it's coming from, right?
No, you do not get to learn the source at 3rd level.
What do you see, Hemlock? I've seen that face before.
Just getting many clues. I think I'm finished here.
You sure? Sounds like these merchants are gonna come back and take all this stuff away.
Do you think it is their right to do so? Can I make a recall knowledge check? I do have lore Mwangi Expanse.
Sure, I'll allow it.
Or just like a society.
I was going to say society would probably be better.
I want to know, like, would it be that the right thing to do, or should we not let them take it?
So yeah, that would be a
society, I think.
Society.
Yeah.
All right. So, goddamn. 18.
You're not familiar with Kibwe law to the T, but you know there's something about akin to a real life will. You know, everybody in case of sudden death or anything like that, sudden circumstances, all possessions go to the next of kin.
Well, as long as they deliver all of these possessions to the next of kin, then I see no problem with them doing so.
All right, fine. We're just going to have a hard time finding whoever the next of kin is if it turns out we need one of these items.
At this point, it does not concern me. We have much more pressing matters than these items at hand.
All right, Hemlock, whatever you say.
Oh, and also, Hemlock is going to pull off his studded leather armor, which is completely ruined. But essentially, he always looks like he's wearing a sharp tuxedo. And as he pulls off his armor, it's almost like it comes out of the tuxedo. And he just kind of sets the armor on the ground, but he's still wearing a tuxedo. It is called Project Persona, and it is a gnome thing.
That's so good.
What's the save DC?
It's 21. So
I see through it.
You see through it. You can see that actually.
Karina also does.
You can both see that I am wearing.
But does the random kid walking by see through? No.
So yes. Well, I also took prestidigitation because he's kind of a neat freak, and he's not even going to bother trying to save this armor. In fact, as soon as he lays it on the ground, he casts produce flame on it to let it burn.
I was actually going to ask, quick, did anybody take craft?
For the cost of regular leather armor, I'm just going to go buy a new pair.
Yeah. And since you're in a central market, if you would like to just buy any common item, you know, if you have the money to do so, as long as it's lower than your level, you're more than welcome.
I definitely do.
Yes, I pick up a set of leather armor.
Okay.
All right.
Ninsnack, do you want me to hold the gold for you?
I think you should share it with our new friends. I mean, I know for sure that Hemlock lost his armor. I just watched him burn it on the ground. Maybe give him some to buy some new armor.
Well, it's very generous of you, new friend.
Well, then, if we're splitting this 3 ways, then Hemlock, myself, and Karanov, right? Get 16 gold apiece. I don't know how we want to do the 6 repeating in the terms of silver and copper. That's really up to you.
Karanov gets it.
Sure.
He's my friend.
So looking around, it's probably about 1 hour to sundown.
I guess I'd ask everybody, well, as we are approaching sundown, and that is when something is said to happen at the Ada Yankee Pavilion, would you 3 wish to go there tonight and investigate?
That's where the religious fanatic is, yeah?
Yes, Preacher Batsulan.
It sounds like a religious fanatic.
Well, he does go by the title Preacher.
That does seem to make sense.
What makes sense?
Going to
You-
see the preacher man that does something at sundown.
Is it that some of his followers are turning into the Oozes? That's what they said?
Yes, that is what Abayon said to us.
Well, then it sounds like maybe put the karma away for this one, Karanal.
So you guys are heading down to the Ada Yankee Pavilion?
Yes.
Fantastic. So the 4 of you leave. It's about 45 minutes to sundown as you approach Ada Yankee Pavilion. While it all looks open on the map, there's actually a large area in the middle that almost like a circus tent, but not like colorful in that way. It's just a big draped over area, like massive, like enough for at least 100 to 200 people to fit into this just large draped area. That just separates it from the rest of the pavilion and the rest of the market to the north. You approach this large draped area, unable to see inside.
Are there guards or
No.
sentries outside at all?
Nope. Occasionally someone might like there's no door, there's just long individual drapes that make up the perimeter of the entire pavilion, and just randomly from all directions people will just kind of come between the 2 drapes and leave. Some people will walk in. It really seems you can enter from any direction.
It doesn't seem like there's like a crowd gathering yet at this point, or
Not
is it
from the
starting
outside.
to-
Not from the outside.
Is it sunset? Or we're like an hour or 2 hours before actual sunset, right?
No,
You said
you're,
about
you're,
45
He said
you're about
45 minutes.
45
Oh,
minutes.
45, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if everybody's just walking in, I'm going to follow them and also just walk in.
I'll just walk in.
Okay. Does everyone else
Stay
also
close.
just walk in?
Yeah.
I want to walk in, but like stay, like just like go like right behind a curtain, kind of trying to not draw a lot of attention to myself.
Okay, so you're sort of like staying near the outer perimeter, like you're sliding in, but just barely.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, you do so. Roll me a stealth check. The rest of you kind of sneak in.
20.
Okay. The rest of you step inside. Karanah kind of follows suit and then just is no
Yeah,
longer with you.
I'd perhaps like to make a deception check to make it seem like I'm supposed to be there. I want to quickly observe everybody around me and then act like them.
Make me a perception check first.
I get a 24.
Okay. It's not too full quite yet. There's an occasional person kneeling. There's probably maybe 1 or 2 dozen people in the pavilion. Some of them might be like kneeling and praying. Others might be waiting for something, it seems. The ones that are kneeling and praying might often have a small like incense burner in front of them. And this just seems, none of them seem to be in the same group. They're very spread out. And they all just seem to be here for their own reason, though most of them seem spiritual.
So it's not like loud praying; it's just kind of like
Right.
this
It's
bowed head.
a nice dim place. There are some lights, a few torches. The ceiling is high enough that it's not catching, and the drapes are loose enough that the smoke does billow out. But it's very dim.
So I apologize if I missed it, but do we know what religion these people...
You don't.
Okay, can I do a religion check to see if I can know?
Go for it.
24.
24. Kibwe is definitely multi-religious. It doesn't have one end-all, be-all religion, because people come from all over the Mwangi Expanse and outside of the Mwangi Expanse to visit Kibwe. There is one known as Grandmother's Grace, And with a 24, and having heard Abayone say it earlier, you know that grandmother is sort of a colloquial term for Sarenrae.
When I walk in, I know my companions are kind of trying to blend in and hide. I'm going to walk in confidently and proudly with my halo shining above my head.
Okay.
And just walk in like I own the place, basically, with exuding confidence.
One of the people kneeling in front of one of the incense burners kind of sees you, and the very dim light your halo gives off standing out in this very dim area, and kind of turns around, like double takes at you, and is just kind of staring at you, like head cocked.
I give him a wink.
Vorgak looks back at Hemlock and goes, "Usually I have to protect you from people coming at you for doing weird stuff. Now we're gonna go get this guy." And I walk over to be next to Nensnack.
After you wink at the woman, she kind of like almost forces herself back at the incense burner, not in like a violent way, but like she's trying really hard not to get distracted and focus on her prayers.
"You turn eyes, little one."
I know, I'm pretty damn good looking, aren't I?
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you look pretty good for a short guy.
Ooh.
It's not about height.
So, okay, sorry, it's the halo, isn't it?
I feel like that's just kind of a given. Did you have to say it? Like,
Sorry, was that
Whatever.
awkward? I'm a little awkward.
you're making this awkward, man.
Sorry.
I would like to sidle up to one of these praying groups and just get close to them.
Okay, like the biggest group is like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
get close to a 2 or 3 person group, and I would want to pretend as though I am praying in the same way they are, but I want to really try and hear what they're saying if I can hear any actual words.
So roll me deception first.
All right?
Ooh!
That's a 30 with a nat 20.
Heyo.
Okay, you slide right in, right next to them, and they open their eye for like a crack, and then just kind of forget you're there. They just, you're clearly here to worship, and it's a lot of muttering, but you can hear a mix. Very casual. Keep us safe, keep us healthy. We pray for good fortune in our future. We pray that those close to us are safe and unharmed, and give Numu the assistance to save my husband.
Numu, okay.
Numu. N-U-M-U.
Since I'm already drawing a little bit of attention, I would honestly just straight up say, may I speak to Batsulan? Or does anybody know where Batsulan is? I'd like to speak with him. I say it politely and confidently.
Like, a lot of people, like, kind of look up, kind of look over to you. Still kind of confused about the halo, but skirt it off. And
I feel like the halo shines a little brighter with all this attention I'm getting. I love it.
one of the people praying solo kind of stands up and walks in your direction. And he kind of looks down at you. It's a Kibwe male human. And kind of looks down on you. He stands at about 6'1". Why would a short one like you seek Batsulan?
So it's a little offensive.
God, what does height have to do with anything?
Why is
Everybody
everyone...
here-
Yeah, this heightism. It's terrible. I've never had to deal with this before.
If you would answer my question.
Oh, I apologize. Yes. We were just here to have a few words with him concerning... Can I go for a whisper, almost covering my mouth? About the ooze issue I know the city is having.
Just like the merchants before, he just kind of rolls his eyes like, "Ugh, another one of you."
I mean...
Batsulan has had enough of this question. If you would leave, we are going to be meeting for him soon. And you can already sort of see that there's a few more people have come inside.
I really mean no offense. I really just wanted to have a few quick words. We just dealt with one ourselves, one of the oozes.
Of course you did, and you also rode in on a Pegasus, didn't you?
Can I attempt like a diplomacy to try to convince him that I really don't mean any offense? I just want to have a quick word with him about it.
Go for it.
23.
Okay. He kind of rubs his eyes a little bit and says, "As long as you aren't causing any harm, Batsulan will be here soon. We all meet here. He speaks. We inherit his wisdom through his deliverance of his preaching. And if you wish to join, just don't cause an upset. Don't go blurting out his name like that."
Oh, of course. I apologize for my rudeness. I wasn't thinking.
It's fine. It's fine. Those such as yourself aren't aware of manners, and it's fair that you must learn.
Speaking of lack of manners, who's Batsulan a preacher of?
And he kind of looks down at you and says, "Oh, there's 2. Just
I apologize for my friend. I will inform him.
Oh, he's gonna be staring me straight in the eyes. I'm an orc. I'm tall as hell.
so he like takes a kind of like half step back from you, looks between the two of you. Are there more of you?
What do you mean, of us?
Well, there's the one hiding that's trying to blend into the curtain back there. I point both of our companions out.
He freaking nat 20 his perception, so he sees both of them and just. Have you paid closer attention to the people coming in? And he kind of points out everyone who's, like, it's starting to filter in more and more people. They're all human. Like, outside in the market, there's a pattering of the less common races, but in here, aside from you four, it is all humans. Your kind don't typically attend these services.
So does that mean Bartolon's a preacher of humans? Or of Eridan? He's dead, you know.
I don't remember Serenray being this racist.
Batsulan does not preach of Serenray, he preaches of the human spirit. He preaches of our will to survive and advance as a species.
So it's an Eridan thing.
There's no godliness to it. It's a personal spiritual journey that, and he kind of coughs a little bit and then looks at you, you are just incapable of attaining.
Well, that's not the first time I've heard that. I'm out of here. Let me just walk away.
Or glance up at my halo and just be like, yes, I can't understand anything at all, and I'm just going to back away now. My halo dims as I walk away in sadness.
Aww. And he turns and he starts walking towards the sort of more southern part of the pavilion near the other end where you came in, or opposite where you came in. And there's a lot of people, like everyone new who's come in is sort of gathering there and kneeling down, as if in wait for something.
I do as they do.
A few more minutes pass, and it was already quiet in here, and it gets quieter. Like, aside from you four, there's not really anyone speaking at this point. It is calmed incredibly. And entering in through the drapes, in front of where everyone is gathered, a very large, tall, intimidating man steps forward, and the crowd just reveres him. There's no auditory reverence, but there's a couple of like mouth coverings, and people get very excited as he enters the room, and he scans the audience and begins his sermon. Humans of Kibwe, we struggle. We fight, sometimes in vain, but we remember that the human spirit is unwavering. As long as you still have your spirit, you are still man, and you are still fighting. And he goes on and on, a very heavy emphasis on the human spirit and human power. He dives into a tangent on how coin is the embodiment of sin. When you spend this made money on yourself instead of the human race as a whole, it is wasted. He hands out a few plates throughout the audience, and they start kind of passing it around. Everyone sort of puts coins on the plates as it passes through the wave. Vorgak, the plate actually reaches you.
I wave it away. Or I just kind of like silently pass it to whoever's next to me.
Okay. You pass it, and it moves on. And the person who passed it to you actually kind of scowls at you a little bit.
He wasn't talking to me.
And he's starting to die down, and he looks around the crowd. It doesn't seem like he's noticed you, and he opens his arms wide and says, "Have you any questions about the human spirit, about the will to fight?" And
I'd like to just quick ask a question about his sermon.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get an impression that he's being like human supremacist, or is it just like human pride?
He puts heavy emphasis on the word human. Like, it's not just like human, it's human.
Okay.
Karana and Nensnak, as Batsulan is looking across the audience, his eyes do fall on your place in the crowd, and he immediately looks away. Like, he made maybe, you can tell when someone makes that split-second eye contact with you and pulls away.
Yeah. I'm still way in the back. I don't know if does he notice me? Did I notice that he notices me? Or?
Oh, he notices you.
Okay.
And you notice that he notices you.
So when the collection plate gets to me,
Mhm.
after seeing how you reacted to seeing me, I'm literally going to drop my bag of coin, everything I have on me, into the plate.
Okay.
Which I don't have a ton. It's 14 gold, 7 silver, and 5 copper.
Okay. And you put the bag on the plate and hand it down. And he starts answering some people's questions. Some people stand up and are thankful for things. Some people stand up and talk about their recent successes in life and thank Batsulan for his guidance. Once more, he sort of opens his arms and says, "Are there any more comments, questions, or curiosities from the crowd before we part our sermon today?"
Which direction did he come in from?
The opposite direction you came in. So the complete opposite side of the drapery. The
pavilion-
circle that was drawn was definitely not to scale. There is some space between the wall and the end of the pavilion's drapery.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was wondering.
He
Like when it
faced
seems
the
like he's
wall.
like getting to the end of his thing,
Mhm.
I'm gonna walk out and like circle around to the back.
Okay.
And I actually want to do it preferably in a way where like when he walks out, I don't want him to know I'm there. So I don't know if I want to need another stealth check for.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check there.
I just kind of want to like observe
nice.
him in his like what he does or if he says anything after he leaves or. And I get a 29 in my stealth.
Okay. You do so. You slip out of the I'll just call it a tent for ease of understanding. And you slink your way around back and you find a nice like collection of barrels behind the tent to sort of sneak yourself behind, where you can still get a good view of the exact opposite side of the tent.
Vorgak's gonna look over to Hemlock, cock an inquisitive eyebrow, and then like nod towards Batsulan.
We would know each other long enough. What are you intimating?
That I really want to say something to this guy.
By all means, I give you the gesture of, go ahead.
Before he says anything, I'd like to try to separate myself from them so that he doesn't think I'm with them necessarily.
Right, that's-
I'm,
yeah,
I'm,
I'm trying to do
gonna
that.
move my way kind of towards the front, if possible.
It's like
And as
squeezing
soon
through
as-
the crowd.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to leave the stage, and because I'd like to go speak with them afterwards.
Okay, so you start making your way through the crowd, and he begins ending his sermon. He just then another
Excuse me.
and his eyes fall on you, and everyone turns. They don't even notice the gnome worming through the crowd. They are all looking at you, Vorgak.
Yes, hi, thank you. I appreciate you giving me a moment to talk to you. I've heard a lot about, like, having the human spirit, but just for my own curiosity, what happens to the humans who don't have the human spirit as you say that they should have it?
If you are not human, you
No,
are
I'm talking about humans who don't have the human spirit that you're talking about.
all humans are born with the spirit. The only way it is lost is through death. It is never too late for a human to begin fighting back.
Fighting back against what?
Corruption. Sin.
So if somebody is overtaken by this corruption, this sin you speak of, what happens?
What are you implying here?
I'm just curious. Is there a bottom of the barrel? Or can they just become more and more corrupt and have more and more sin until they die? And then they never hit the bottom of your spirit well?
The spirit determines the afterlife. The more you fight, the better your reward. Like any war. Those who falter and those who fail are left with nothing.
Good answer, Mr. Batsulan guy. I'll shut up now.
Can I do a sense motive for when he was talking about corruption? Can I tell what kind of corruption he was speaking of?
Roll me sense motive.
Man, every time I want to do like a good roll to figure something out, it's just I rolled a 6. It's a 15.
It's hard to say. You're so unfamiliar with this man, this whole group. You can't tell if he's talking about physical corruption, mental corruption, like emotional corruption. You can't pin it down. Have you anything else to say? And then he looks down at you, Nensnak, who's been just wading through the crowd.
Hemlock is doing his very absolute best to continue to stay inobvious amongst the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do now is call out and doing my best to continue to stay inobvious in the crowd, like still kind of like hiding amongst all these tall humans. I want to call out, has Numu been cursing the sinners with this ooze?
And he looks in your direction. He can't roll me stealth real quick.
Yeah. 26.
Nice. And he sharply turns in your direction and can't see you and just shouts, "Who would ask about ooze? Are you falling fool to these lies, this slander?"
Then
I
what
want
is
to hear
the-
more about this Nubu guy.
No, that's okay. I
Okay.
assume it goes exactly like that. Hemlock starts to say something, and then Vorgak says something louder.
I'm trying to like distract because I see what's his name?
Nansnak?
Batsulan
Oh.
like looking for Hemlock, and I know Hemlock's trying to stay silent, and I'm gonna take the one thing from that I felt like was very incendiary and ask loudly about it. Who's this Nubu guy?
The name Nubu means nothing to me. Why do you spout dribble?
Cause someone in your, pavilion here asked about it. I assume they know more about it than I do.
He looks to the audience. Who here knows of a Nubu? Stand and speak. Fight with your human Mwangi spirit. And a woman stands up from the crowd, and Hemlock, it's hard to see from here, but you can see it's the same woman that was praying next to you, and she sort of raises her hand, shaking, like, horribly, and just, Numu is a healer. She's a healer, and my husband, he's very injured recently in a bar fight, and she's taking care of him, and he just kind of, like, with a movement of his hand, like, sits her back down. There you have it. A doctor. Have you more questions, or can you leave our pavilion?
I'm going to try and stay hidden and leave as everybody else leaves. Again, just kind of
People aren't leaving yet.
filtering out. Yeah, so I'll wait until they do.
So, like, I'm not allowed to be here then?
He kind of rubs his head a little bit and looks at you and says, "Do you, who stand as a non-human and thus incapable of attaining the true benevolences of the human Mwangi Pass, do you claim to seek knowledge? I say you cannot seek knowledge. Begone!"
I can have curiosity. I have that in abundance.
And
I
what-
think I'll just, like, stay here and watch for a bit. I'll stop talking, though, if it makes you feel better about it.
If you want to feel better about it, how about you stand up here with me? Bring your friends! Bring all of your friends! Come! Stand with me and preach your wisdom curiosities to the audience.
Well, I don't have, like, preaching. I'm bad at that.
No, please! Stand up! If you wish to make it a scene and come before me, challenging our beliefs, come! Stand and speak your piece.